Welcome back, everybody, to another Digital Gate Studios production. Another awesome deck profile from Jeff. This one is not all green.
This one actually has a lot of green in it, though.
Yeah, it does,
which is crazy because I'm not even a huge green fan. But this is a deck this is my favorite deck.
You've been talking about this one since the reveals.
I am a huge fan of this playstyle. I love the zoo style. I love the alternative playstyle, being able to put the Devas and raising. I like the whole Ace level 6s. That's what inspired me to play Ace Mega Zoo, an old video of ours, because I was preparing for this, right? I wanted to get that mental state of what is it going to be like.
What's the risk
playing
reward?
a lot of Ace level 6s. So let's dive into this deck. It's this deck I'm very excited for. I'm going to talk just briefly explaining. We got our compass here. We got the Ebunwamon, Black Turtle of the north. We got Baihumon Ace. He is the White Tiger of the west. Zakaomon, I think he's Red Phoenix, but I don't remember the color. Forgive my Chinese mythology. I love Chinese mythology, but can't remember the exact color. Oh, Vermilion. It's Vermilion. Vermilion Phoenix of the south, and Azulong, the Azure Dragon of the east. All of these cards are Ace cards. What does Ace mean, guys? I think we know this by now, but for those of you who are new to Digimon and just really gravitated towards this deck that don't know what the Ace is, it allows you to counter.
Yeah.
You can blast Digivolve onto a level 5. It's great that all of our Devas are level 5 because you kind of leaving them on the board for you to be able to counter with these particular cards.
They also have reduced play costs, which is really strong for level 6s.
Yeah,
As zoo players, that was what we asked for, you know?
Exactly. So I'll start talking about this Ebunwamon here real quick. This one is almost my favorite one to keep in hand because it can be really sneaky, right? So hand, counter, blast, evo, it's great. So just so you guys know, your opponent will activate all their when attacking effects first.
Yeah.
So after all the attacking effects go off, then you decide if you're going to blast or not. That will help.
It's in between when attacking and block phase. Yeah.
You got to practice this deck.
Oh, yeah.
This deck requires a lot of practice. And this deck also, I'm just going to tell you now, you get out of the mind state of caring about overflow.
Yeah.
Because this deck, you're already giving your opponent a lot of memory, hard playing level 5s for 7.
Yep.
You're going to give them memory if they figure out a way to delete these, but there are payoffs. So let's start with this card. On play, when Digivolving, right? I'm just going to read this and I'll screw it up. For each of your opponent's Digimon with Deva or four sovereign traits, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Then during your opponent's next unsuspend phase, all of their Digimon can't unsuspend. It's a puppet mon. You guys remember that card?
Yeah, I remember
this
that
is
card.
an on play. So not only is it when Digivolving, it's on play. So if you have nothing on the board, you play for 7, you suspend one body, their entire board doesn't unsuspend during the unsuspend phase.
Yep.
It does a lot of stuff. It's great, especially if you have a couple Devas on board, maybe a Sovereign in this, but it does none of these specifically look for Fanglong, so just keep that in mind. Let's move on. We're going to go never eat, sog you eat, right? So Zulongmon Ace, hand, counter, blast, evo, right? So this one is also on play. It's another one I really like. The on plays I just think have so much versatility. When Digivolving, return one of your opponent's level 5 or lower to the hand, then unsuspend one Digimon.
That's wicked strong. Level 5s are a plenty.
I skipped over this. I forgot about this. I'm sorry. On deletion, delete one of your opponent's suspended Digimon. Not necessarily my favorite on deletion of this, but it's still pretty good. This one also has deleting one of your opponent's Digimon with highest level.
Yep.
Right? So basically, let's say they swing into your suspended Deva, right? Even if they have more than 12k DP, it's still not a bad idea to blast Evo into one of these, knowing that you can bounce a 5 and you can delete their highest level, that you can suspend their board and lock it down. Or this one on deletion, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP when it's deleted.
Yep.
This one, when Digivolving, when attacking, by deleting either one Digimon, either yours or your opponent's, with 6,000 DP or less, or the Deva trait, he gains security attack +1 for the turn.
Yes, big.
So I don't necessarily care about that security attack as much.
Yeah.
Right? But you still can do some fun things with it. You can still Digivolve for 3, because all of these do Digivolve on top of a Deva for 3 memory. Keep it your turn, swing for 3 checks with an inheritable. But you are running a little bit more risk. You don't necessarily want to risk the overflow on your turn of it dying as much as you care about your opponents, right? You're just going to have to kind of get in the mind state that this deck is going to overflow. It is going to give your opponent a bunch of extra memory. Your job is just to play with that, right?
My favorite part, though, is that every one of those ace cards has a detriment to its deletion.
Yes.
So,
Baihumon Ace, this is I'm going to tell you right now, this is the most bait of all of the Devas. And I really like this, and I love this card in theory. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm not working on a yellow Deva deck that plays like security Digimon because of what this card does.
Yeah.
But this one is counter as well, but it's opponent's turn. When your security is checked, if that card is a Deva, play it without battling and paying the play cost. Right? So on deletion, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest play cost. Again, it is a good deletion ability, right? Even though we do play a lot of Devas in this deck, you don't necessarily want to focus on Baihumon being your blast counter. It's not bad if you're trying to set up like a big blocker because we have the black inheritables of the Devas to give you blockers. I'm not saying you can't get use out of it, but that, you know, it's kind of the one that makes you think you want a lot of Baihumons, but really you find it's the one you actually want the least of.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to work a little bit different order when I'm laying this deck out. We're going to lay it in order of the big monsters, kind of working our way down because a lot of the questions with the deck profile is how many of everything do you play?
Yeah.
So I'm going to start off with 4 Fanglongmons.
I think you have to.
I think you have to, right? Fanglong is just too darn good. It is kind of, I don't want to say your win condition because you can win without Fanglonging, and it's not like once he comes out wins you the game, right? But his ability is so strong he can clear boards. So on play, when attacking, so it's both, right? So if you have 15 memory, if you have 5 memory, you can just hard play it for, 5, but there are ways to reduce that cost, and I will get into that towards the end of this deck profile video. But you can return up to 4 cards with Deva or 4 Sovereign's trash or 4 Sovereign's trait from your trash to the bottom of your deck for each one. All of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4K for the turn. So you can do minus 16 to an entire board. If they have a level, let's say you're playing against a Bloomlord player.
Kills everything.
You can wipe the entire Bloomlord field with this one card.
Or Jesmon or Commandermon or all kinds of stuff.
Yes. So Fanglong, you play that as a 4F. If for budget reasons, you can only get to 3. I won't say stick with 3, but you can play 3. But ideally, you're going to have as many as you can. So I'm going to stick with the ones that I'm playing the most of because I think this is going to be another point of confusion. How many of each of the Devas do I play? Right? So I already went through and talked about what Ebunwalmon does. Yep. He's really good. I love the on play. It's sick.
So you're at 3 on
So I'm at 3 of that, right? And then to follow that up, I'm at 3 of the Azu Long Ace because that one is really, these are all the ones that you kind of want to kind of counter with, right?
Yeah.
And I'm also playing 3 of the Zakao. Now, why I'm not playing 4 of any of them, why I'm not doing anything of anything else, it's because we want to have unique names for the option that allows you to reduce the cost to play Fanglong for cheap. I am playing 2 of this Baihumon Ace. So I'm at 2.
Okay.
This is the ratios that I really like because I feel like I have answers to things. I could see the argument why you maybe go to 4 of like Ebunwa or maybe 4 of Azu Long, right? Just because of the fact, or even 4 of the Zakao, because the Blast Evo, popping bodies, that stuff is good. That stuff is strong. It can do quite a lot for the deck. But what I find is that you don't need them all. You know, you kind of want to split it up. You want to have different ratios. You want to have different stuff. And then I think what else people struggle with this particular deck, I know I personally did, and I had to do a couple different versions. And not only did I have to do a couple different versions, I had to try one version, get 99% of the way there with my Devas, and then change one card before filming this because I just had to keep tweaking this.
Yeah.
Because there's so much that can be done. So I'm playing 3 of the EX4 Antilamon.
Ooh.
This is the only Deva that I'm playing 3 of. I think you don't ideally want to play 3 of any Deva, but if you're going to, it's this one.
Because you need unique names.
You need unique names, right? So just so you guys know, there are 12 Devas. I won't go ahead and do a whole lore episode. We ain't got that time. Nobody wants to sit here for that. As much as I would love to sit here and listen to myself talk. And Telamon has Alliance. It gains security attack +1 and the DP of the other body that you suspend. Also, end of attack. If you have 3 of your security, you recover 1. This becomes like my main attacker, right? So let's just dive into, I'll just put 1 Deva. I'm not going to lay it out quite yet, right on the field. On play, draw 1. Then you may play 1 Deva trait Digimon card without the same name as a card in your battle area or trash. So yes, you are playing 3 in Telamon. So as long as you just make sure you don't have one on battle area or trash, you can put it in the raising area with our other Devas to start setting up big swings with this Intilimon.
Interesting.
Right? So you can get this to 23,000 DP 2 checks by suspending Fanglong or maybe a mystery egg that I think people are starting to see in the deck.
Ooh.
I'll go into that and why in a sec. So for me, I'm just kind of diving into the Devas that I'm playing multiples of or the ones that have good on plays.
Right.
I am playing 2 of the EX3 Majramon. This one is one that I really like. I mean, on play, one of your opponent's Digimon gains security attack -2.
All right.
No stipulations.
Control card. Yep.
Just boom, -2 security attack on one body. Huge. Does a lot of stuff. And with this deck, you kind of need some good on plays. You kind of need the ability to play defensively, to react to things. This is kind of a reactive deck.
Yeah.
And then also, if you have a Digimon with 4 sovereigns, gain 2 memory. So it can be a 5-cost hard play.
Yeah.
So it's really not bad. And then, like I said, you play it one turn, then you have blast that your opponent has to consider, and you have ways to counter on your opponent's turn.
In this deck, how scary is it for your opponent to attack while you have a 5 on the board?
Because they're like, what are you going to do? Because I don't know which body it's going to be.
Yeah.
Because there's no way for them to predict which one of these you have in hand. I am playing a 1 of Mihiramon. So unfortunately, guys, I'm using none of the 3 blue Devas that we got from the EX set. And that is just because of the fact that you want to have unique names. The Intilimon is so strong. It recovers 2 checks, 20-something thousand. You can even suspend an ace if you're trying to keep an ace safe, whatever. Security attack -. What does this one do? On play, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon with 7k or less. Then, until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your opponent's Digimon doesn't unsuspend. Another control card.
Yep.
I really would like to play 2 of this Mihiramon, but it's hard to justify with the unique names that you want. You want to have enough level 5s with the on-play draw 1. So real quick, I know you guys are going to be tempted to look at these blue ones. I'm going to tell you from my personal opinion, I don't think you need these 3. They all have the same on-play draw 1 and then play a unique name Deva that you don't have in battle area trash into the raising area. But this one, when attacking, trash the bottom Digivolution card. This one, when one of your opponent's Digimon is, or when one of your Digimon is played, trash the top Digivolution card. This one is when you use an option card with cost of 1 or more, gain 1 memory. So you would think you'd want to use these, and I have seen some lists playing multiples of these, even in place of these. This is just my preference. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I do kind of miss the inheritables of the blue Devas that I'm not being able to take advantage of. If this Digimon has the 4 sovereigns or God Beast trait, gain 1 memory. Sadly, the 3 that I'm using are Azulongmon loyal followers, so this is what we get instead.
Gotcha.
I'm going to start diving into all the Devas that I'm playing 2 ofs, because I do think with this deck, you are going to pick some Devas to play 2 ofs, because you're not just going to play 12 Devas, if it's not obviously apparent.
Yeah.
This one is one of the best in the game, for sure. Keturamon. So, he's a blocker, on play, draw 1, plays a body, but he has the inheritable of giving blocker to 4 sovereign or God Beast. So what's really nice about this is you play the Keturamon, you now have a blocker to stop an opponent's attack in case you don't have something to blast into. Or let's say you do have something to blast into, but you just need, they're an 11k body. You want to be a 12k blocker. Bam, you blast, you're now a blocker. Do the inheritable here. So I think that one has to be a 2 of in the deck. And this one is pretty much the same reason because of the inheritable, but this one has decoy for Deva or for sovereigns.
Nice.
So if they try to pop one of your Deva, or excuse me, 4 sovereigns, and you want to keep it alive, you don't necessarily want to overflow, you have decoy here. So I think this is a good 2 of. This one might be the first of my 2 ofs that I'd cut down, but I really like the blocker inheritable.
Yeah.
It just makes the deck even more terrifying to be able to blast, remove a small body, block another body, whatever you want to do. It just does so much work for the deck. This one is my latest addition that I went up to a 2 of, because when I first saw this card, I was like, oh, this is an easy 1 of. I'm done. Move on. Next, please. No, this one's great. On play, same thing. Draw 1, put a unique name Deva in the raising area, right?
Yep.
So this one has, they all have slightly different abilities for their other stuff. Some of them do repeat over and over or whatever, but this one is the only one with this ability. All turns, once per turn, when opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, draw 1.
That's good.
It draws you cards. In this deck, you need to draw cards.
Yeah,
you
because you're hard playing stuff left and right.
You're hard playing a lot. You want to be able to grab an ace when you don't have it. You need to get your pieces to set up for the Fanglong combo, whatever it is. This does really help you with that draw engine. The inheritable gives them piercing, and I find I don't necessarily care about having piercing. I wish I had this blue inheritable instead, but it is what it is. So I really like this one as a 2 of. That was my most recent change. This one is a 2 of as well for the same thought process of the draw power that this gives you. On play, draw 1. This one's Indramon. On deletion, draw 1. So it's really nice if you just want to swing with it and it dies, you draw a card, boom, you've drawn 2 cards off this, right?
Right.
Or this is, again, another 2 of, because I'm focusing on the Devas that I have played multiple of that are either control, some unique aggression with this alliance, or just my defensive control / drawing, right? That's what I'm after.
Nice.
The rest of the Devas are 1-ofs. So 1 of the Makuramon. So now we've completed Ebunmon's Loyal 3, the Makuramon, Sinduramon, Katuramon. On play, draw 1. On opponent's turn, all of your opponent's tamers with play cost 2 or less cannot suspend. So if you are a fan of disrupting your opponent's tamers, you could go up on this one, especially because he has the blocker inheritable.
Yeah.
I wanted 5 blocker inheritables. That's why he's there. I'm playing a Sinduramon. This one is another one, and if I had a 51 card deck, this might be the one that I would go up to a 2 of as well.
Okay. That's the favorite of the solos.
I think it's one of the favorites of the solos for sure, if not this Mahiramon. Anyways, this one is on deletion. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 5k or less. The red ones have, while this Digimon has 4 sovereigns or god beasts, security attack +1.
That's good.
Goes really nice with Zakaomon, who is the leader of the red ones. Playing another Piercer, Vajramon. Okay. This one was actually a 2 of, and I took one of that out to put in another one of this Kumhiramon. But on play, draw 1 again. Your turn, once per turn. When you have an object card, cost of 1 or more, gain 1 memory. I really thought I was going to want that memory, but I found I didn't need that memory.
Yeah.
But that 1 extra memory wasn't a game changer for me compared to just drawing cards consistently.
Yeah.
We are playing another red one. This is the last of the followers of the South. This one is on deletion. If your opponent has a tamer, gain 1 memory. Again, not a bad idea being able to push yourself to gain extra memory in theory, but I found myself in practice just wishing I had more draw power.
Yeah.
And then my last Deva is the Vikarlamon. I don't even know how to say it. I guess I shouldn't pretend. Right, but this will be the last of our Ebunmon's loyal followers. Your turn, once per turn. This one is pretty unique, actually.
Yeah.
When one of your Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle and survives, you can unsuspend him. So you can get some cool shenanigans going off, but I really found myself never using that, just focusing on consistently having a Tilamon, having Mahiramon for control, having the blocker, having a draw engine, so that way I can make all this crazy deck happen consistently.
Yeah.
That's what I decided to focus on, and that's what I've done. This is my Deva lineup, so let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 level 5 Devas.
How many different names?
12.
12 names.
So I have all 12 names.
Oh, okay.
So I will say, when you practice this deck, what you're going to start focusing on is keeping an eye on your trash, which ones you have in trash. So remember which ones are your 1-ofs. Try to keep that in mind. And then also with Fanglong, you return them to the bottom of the deck. So for example, if you know you have 3 Intillamons, right, and 2 of them are in your trash, you can return 2 of them to the deck, or you can even return these aces since you have multiple of. So that way you can still keep the unique name if you need to get a second Fanglong.
Gotcha.
Going.
That makes sense.
All right, let's dive into some support to make all this crazy stuff happen. Playing 4 of my favorite card, I think, in the game, Analog Youth. On play, reveal the top 3 cards, add 1 Digimon card among them, and the rest go to the trash.
Yeah.
So this helps accelerate your trash, so that way you can trigger Fanglong with the option to play it to go a lot faster, a lot cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
This makes it so if a level 6 ace card gets deleted, you can gain back some of the memory so that blast doesn't hurt as bad.
Yep.
But I think my best advice for you guys is just play with the idea that you're going to lose 4 memory and just kind of let it be okay.
In doing so, though, you're also going to usually take out something.
You're gonna get some advantage.
Kill spell for 4 doesn't feel bad.
Yeah. 2 denies. You may reveal the top 5 card. I'm not even gonna read his on play because I'll tell you what, I skip it every time because it says specifically you may. You do not have to do his on play.
Yeah.
Opponent's turn. When an opponent's level 5 or higher Digimon attacks, suspend this tamer, move out a Digimon from the breeding area to the battle area.
Yeah.
Let's say they clear your level 5 Deva that you set up, but you have one in raising that's safe from kill spells. They attack with a body that triggers this effect. You can then promote, and with the way the timing works, you can blast. So you could make the argument to go to 3 of this because of that, but I did find I don't necessarily need that particular card. This is a tamer that I went back and forth on. I'm playing 2 of Kyoshiros from BT8.
Need that draw.
Excuse me, BT9. Start of your turn. If you have 2 memory less, set your memory to 3. Pretty nice. You do want to be at 3 memory. Not necessarily enough to where you need 3 of this tamer, right? You don't need to be at 3 memory, but it helps when you only give them 4 hard playing a Deva.
Yeah.
It helps when you want to digivolve into a Deva that turn for 3
and
memory.
Keep it your turn.
And keep it your turn, right? So, and then also when you attack a Digimon that has Jellymon, no Jellymons, hint, hint, but level 5 or higher, if you have 7 or fewer cards in hand, draw 1. Does help your draw engine a little bit. I had the hero in this spot. I saw a lot of lists with hero, so that's what I started with first, because my thought process was if I play Crimson Blaze, if I decide to fit that in, or if I want to give extra DP to my level 5s.
Right.
But I kind of do treat this like a purple deck where I don't care if my Digimon necessarily get deleted if I choose when it does. So that way I can accelerate the trash, get that option going. So I ultimately switched this. This
Makes
does
sense.
open it up to blue options. I'll give you a hint. I'm not playing any, but you
No
do
ice
have
ball?
no ice wall. You do have that flexibility if you really, really wanted to. I could see why. Well, let's go into options now. I'm playing 4 of Loyalty Deeper Than the Sea. I mean, I'm just gonna like have a stoic moment every time I play this card. I love it. But it says when you have a Digimon with Deva of 4 sovereigns, you can ignore the color requirements. So that does come up. You will sometimes need to ignore the color requirements. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. And this is really interesting. Place 1 card with Deva of 4 sovereigns either to your hand or as the bottom Digivolution card of one of your Digimon. You don't have to have any situations. So if you want to give security attack and you reveal a red one underneath a day of one of the sovereigns, you can. If you want to just swing with a level 5, but you want to get an extra Deva in trash, you could just tuck another Deva as its bottom source, swing, it gets deleted. You have 2 Devas in trash.
There you go.
With unique names, right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of cool things you can do with this. And this is why, if you have, option with 1 or more memory, you gain 1, you could make it free. 1 is not that bad.
Yeah.
1 is really not that bad. Here is the best option in this deck. It is Holy Beast, Great Cardinal Positions, like a compass, kind of like I had at the beginning of the video.
Oh, that makes so much more sense now.
Right? When you have a Digimon with the Deva or 4 sovereigns, you can ignore this card's color requirements. When this card would be used, reduce the cost by 1 for each Deva or 4 sovereigns trait card with a different name in your trash.
Got it.
So the idea is you want to get this card cheap, but you don't need it to be free.
Yeah.
You do not need to have 1 of everything in your trash perfectly. The idea is you're just going to play your game. You're going to start setting up the body. You're going to put some aggression on with Antilamon. You're going to control the board with your Blast Ace. You're going to start slowly filling the trash, setting up your Tamers. And then all of a sudden, when it's time to get Fanglongmon out because you need to clear a board, or you're trying to just really put them in a bad situation, you drop this.
There you go.
If you pay 7 memory to play this, you didn't lose. I promise.
Yeah, you don't feel bad.
You don't feel bad, right? You don't have to purposely get the trash all the way down. So using that logic, if you wanted to maybe reduce some of these 1-ofs and play a little bit more control style, you could do that, right? This is how I like it, though. And what makes all of that possible, in case you don't have white, we're playing the Mother.
Interesting.
Mother is a great egg, and I will say you do have to practice with this deck of when it is appropriate to hatch the Mother, because you can't put a Deva into the raising area if you have a Mother sitting there hatched.
Yeah.
So you do kind of balance that. It is nice if turn 1 you open with some Tamers to hatch the Mother, right? And then maybe play a Tamer turn 1, or you have a white source because you hatched on turn 1. You can play a Loyalty Deeper Than the Sea, only give your opponent 1 memory to start the game, and you added a card to your hand, right? So, but the idea is you want to get a Mother set up, at least 1. Generally, you only need 1. I've had a game where I wish I had 2, but I just didn't have the opportunity to set it up.
Yeah.
So that way I can alliance for 2 checks.
At a million. Yeah.
Huge numbers, right? So this is the deck, guys. This is where I'm at. I'm insanely happy with this list. I love it. I have seen some awesome ideas floating around on the interwebs. Solomon, searches Holy Beasts. We have a lot of Holy Beasts.
Yeah.
Right? Sister Mont Blanc, trashing one of these cards and being able to draw 2. That's super helpful. And Sister Mont Blanc is my favorite idea. I've almost been tempted to remove the Janai and the Kyoshiro to kind of, swap those for Sister Mont Blancs. But I think this is where I'm going to stay at. Guys,
I like it.
This is the deck profile. Jump in the comments. Let us know what you think, what your opinions are. I want to know what your splits are of the Devas. I want to know what your splits are of the Sovereigns. Thank you guys so much for staying tuned and watching this video. We have tons more great deck profiles your way.
Yep.
If you're not already following us on Instagram, jump over there, Digital Gate Studios. And we have an awesome podcast that drops every Friday. I know you guys are going to love it. We talk a lot about everything Digimon related. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate your time.
We'll see you in the next one.
We got it.